Welcome back to Miller Time with Big T. This is episode 2 of our world famous podcast with my co-host, my main man, the producer, Biloxi Miller. What's up, Blake?
What's happening?
Well, not a whole lot. It's Monday morning. What do golf pros do on Mondays?
Well, it's Monday, but it's also the last day of the month.
Inventory.
So you got me in the middle.
You're usually off on
middle
Monday.
of inventory today.
Yeah. Y'all usually off on Mondays though, right?
I mean, we're closed. Doesn't mean we're off.
Right.
We're closed.
Well, good deal. Well, let's talk about, the feedback we got from the first episode.
Yep.
How many views do you think we had?
Well,
you tell?
I'll come back to me in about a minute. I'll be able to tell. Let's see.
I mean, I had some feedback from a few people. Most of it was positive.
Okay, most of you had some. What were some negative things? I love to hear them.
One of my friends who remain nameless, Blinky, had to come back with me about the lighting, by the way. The lighting and things like that. But
well, he can come volunteer and be your lighting expert now and get everything set up.
Right.
We'll give him a free.
And I have a request for our next guest. We have a next guest already wanting to appear.
All right.
So we'll get into that later.
168 views.
168. Wow.
So
that's I thought.
That's we started somewhere. Now we got something to go off of.
That's our base.
We got double that.
That's our baseline.
That's right.
As they say in business world.
That's right.
That's our baseline. Well, good deal. Well, let's go back, talk a little sports to get us going. We'll go back to last weekend when we had 4 huge NFL games that were probably the best NFL playoff weekend I've ever seen. Some really big games.
It'll be tough to beat the games like that. They were all bangers.
Which ones stood out to you?
I mean, they
Cowboys.
Huh?
The Cowboys, was that last week?
No, that wasn't last week.
That was a week before.
Last week was divisional round. We had the Packers and Niners. You had the Titans and Bengals. You had the Chiefs and the Bills, and then you had the Rams and the Bucks.
That Chiefs and Bills game, man, was that crazy. The Bills just didn't do right with that 13 seconds left. They should have never given up that field goal. I mean, that was terrible there. And then move on to yesterday. We had 2 more good games yesterday. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, last came down to the last second. Both games basically.
Can you believe Joey B took on Holmes and took him down?
Yes,
I'm so happy that we don't have to see that freaking whatever he is brother anymore.
I think they talk about Cowboys or America's team. The Bengals are America's team
right now. Did you see that get up he had on coming into the game yesterday?
How could you not love that?
Somebody asked him after the game, well, that was diamonds in his necklace. Did you hear that?
Yeah, he makes enough money to wear diamonds. Come on.
And he told the reporter that I make too much money not for him to be real. That's what he said.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's falling in love with him and
coming out with a swag.
I mean, first full season in, he's been on.
So who do you like in the Super Bowl?
I mean, you gotta like the Bengals.
Yeah, well, everybody's going to be pulling for them, except unless you're a Rams fan, which
they both Rams are going to be favored. Rams are going to be favored.
Well,
their defense.
Number one, they can't even fill up their stadium. Who's going to be cheering for them?
Well,
nobody.
They ain't going to be no typical Joe Blow fans like you and me sitting in that stadium for a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, that's true, but they're not going to have many fans there anyway.
Well, neither would the Bengals in that stadium.
So, what do you think about Sean Payton? Tell me what you think about that.
Sucks. I mean, look, he's been coach for the Saints for 16 seasons and won a Super Bowl. What more could you really ask for? Was coach of the year one year. I mean, brought him.
He's been threatening this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wouldn't really say threatening it. This is probably the first year that's been talked about a lot on ESPN and stuff like that. But I mean, to do what he did for the Saints.
I mean, I think he should be coach of the year this year.
Yeah, I mean, to play, you know, to lose some of the teams they lost to with the players they had playing in the game and the in book was the quarterback, and they got smoked, obviously. But I mean, they just I don't know.
What'd you say back in a guy that smoked?
In book.
Yeah.
And they got smoked by.
Oh, they got smoked. I thought you said Ian Book smoked. Say what? What's he talking about?
I don't know what he does off the field. And he went to Notre Dame. Shout out to the Ruperts. But there's no telling what they do up there.
The Ruperts.
Yeah, Chip's a big Notre Dame guy.
Come on.
Big time.
Really?
Oh, huge money.
I didn't know that.
Huge.
Chip's got to switch to the Rebs.
Well, he paid some money there, so he's.
Yeah. Well, Tristan don't anymore to cheer for the Rebs, does he?
Yeah, barely. He does sometimes.
Sad. That's sad. Talk about the transfer portal. Man, the Rebs came up big this weekend and added another guy this morning.
Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Lane's got that transfer portal on fire. I mean,
you seen this meme that he has come out this morning with Tiger King?
Oh yeah, that's funny. What do you think about Brian Kelly's, video he's got out there with I mean,
look at this guy.
What a goofy.
What is he doing?
But you know what? I mean, that's goofy, but guess what? It's got us talking about it.
That's right. I mean, it's getting whoever, nobody is even talking about the player that's in it, but that player, I bet his NIL value. And think about that, with the transfer portal, Jackson Dart and the dude, the Michael Trick guy from USC that are coming to Ole Miss.
Right.
They were good. They played, they had good playing time this year. They were good players. But I mean, they're going to be able to get who knows what kind of deals now because those two guys' their value has just shot it up the past 2 weeks because they've been probably two of the most talked about players in the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's true.
2 weeks. And they made some serious money, probably.
Yeah.
Past couple weeks.
Jackson Dart, his name fits anyway.
What about his son? I'm not his son, his brother's name? Diesel Dart.
That's his brother?
Diesel.
Is he a player too?
He's like 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
But his name is Diesel Dart.
Well, I hope they give him make it a competition between him and Luke Altmaier.
Oh, it will be. I mean, it's going to be a true. I don't think they're not going to give him the job. I mean, Luke Altmaier, he's been there for a year now. He rolled last spring, so he'll have a chance for sure.
We'll see how that goes. But a lot of schools are racking up on that transfer portal, but Ole Miss is the number one, they say.
Yeah, number one transfer class. Wow. I think he moved up to like number 13 overall, including transfers.
I guess he knew what he was doing on signing day, which, by the way, we have the last signing day Wednesday. So that should be interesting on who signs in.
OG signing day.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who we're waiting on, or I guess most people have already signed.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the new signing day, man. I mean, it's not as fun.
Well, it is what it is, and they'll
wake up on the first Wednesday in February and be, oh, God, stay on my phone all day, see who's going where. That was
right.
fun.
Well, it'll just finish it off this week, and I know all the JUCOs will be signing people this week. I've seen.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how that transpires. But we're going to wrap it up for this segment. Stay tuned. We've got our first official guest coming up on the next segment. That'll be our good friend, Barry Lyons. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Barry Lyons. Welcome back to Miller Time with Big T. We're pleased to announce our first guest today, first ever guest on the podcast, is my good friend, native Biloxian, Barry Lyons. Barry, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, T. Good to be with you and Blake, and looking forward to chatting with you on your new podcast.
Expounding your knowledge to the masses, right?
Well, I know everybody's sitting on edge waiting for your opinions on what's going on in this world and in the world of sports. And
I hear you.
I just want to join in with you, bro.
Well, look, everybody knows about Barry that, he played Major League Baseball, mainly with the Mets. I think you're more famous for them than anybody else. But, one thing I want to ask you about is you had some opportunities to play college football, didn't you?
I did after growing up in the Catholic schools here in Biloxi and then playing at Notre Dame High School through 10th grade. I transferred to Biloxi High School and played my senior year there and had some opportunities to play college football. Small Division I schools showed interest, but I chose Delta State University, one for the full scholarship and the free ride to get my education, as my three older brothers were blessed to do. And two, I had an agreement to play baseball in the spring with Coach Dave Boo Ferris at Delta State, and that was the reason I signed, was they were going to allow me to forego spring football to play baseball.
Right. Well, and you ended up not even playing football there, did you?
I tried. After my senior year in high school, Coach Ferris offered me what amounted to a full baseball scholarship, and that was a very easy decision. Fall baseball was very important for developing as a player, and Coach expressed those things to me and, gave me that opportunity to dedicate my whole college career to baseball. And that's certainly, obviously, a decision that was very good for me.
Well, the full ride in baseball now is such a big deal. Most of these schools don't even offer a full ride at Division I level. Is that right?
Yeah, baseball still has the least amount of scholarships of any NCAA sport. I don't understand why, but there's only 11.7 scholarships to be divided up between 25, 30, 35 players, depending on the rosters of each schools. And that's difficult, but there's, academics is so important. Academic scholarships are a big part of baseball, and certainly now with the changes they've made with the NIL, I think it is schools are able to sort of earmark and steer monies from other sources towards those things. So the landscape is changing, but baseball has gotten the short end of the stick for a long, long time.
Well, a lot of people in the SEC have always been down on Vanderbilt. I'm not sure what the deal with them is, but they offer more baseball scholarships than anybody else.
They do. They have access to big money supporters up there, and somehow, some way, Since they're a private school, they're able to funnel those monies into scholarships, and that's why they're able to get so many high-profile guys coming to Vanderbilt. And of course, they do a great job of developing them, and they have a great coaching staff and a great program. But when I lived in Nashville 20 years ago, 25 years ago, their program absolutely stunk. But they've poured into it over the last 20 years, and they're one of the top programs in the country. But they do have an unfair advantage. And there's some documentaries and some things out there that sort of explain that a little better.
Right. Well, you know, when Blake and I were talking about you being on, you know, Blake had no idea that the Mets were the '86 World Series champions. And, you know, with that, you know, I got thinking about it. Well, hell, he wasn't even born. He probably don't know that. Blake, what do you want to, you know, from your generation, what do you like to ask Barry? Is there anything you'd like to touch on with him about that or anything else?
What's that?
About that or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, growing up, you've been friends with my dad, so I know kind of what you did and the path you kind of took. But just talk about, you know, kind of like a timeline. You know, you went to Biloxi, went to Delta State, and just talk about kind of what transpired from playing college ball at Delta State, and then how you got to the '86 Mets, having to go to Jackson, and talk about that journey.
Well, as I mentioned, I played for Coach Dave Boo Ferris at Delta State. I played 4 years there and had some great success, both individually and as a team. We won a conference one year. We won a regional championship my senior year, and actually played in the Division II College World Series. And I was an All-American and had a great senior year, and drafted by the New York Mets. And I came up through the Mets minor league organization, and my first year was half season after my college career went really well. My first full year, I suffered a couple of different injuries and still had a good season, comparatively speaking, but not the season I wanted. And that year, the next year, I really, you know, put myself in the picture as far as the big leagues are concerned, and had a most valuable player of the league season in Lynchburg, the high A team in Lynchburg, Virginia. And then the next year, as you mentioned, I played in Jackson, Mississippi, which was the Mets AA franchise back in those days, and had another phenomenal season. We won a league championship. I was the most valuable player again. And from there, the next year, 1986, I made the major league roster out of spring training as the backup catcher to Hall of Fame catcher Gary Carter. And I was the backup catcher for Gary for pretty much most of 4 seasons. I got some playing time here and there, had some shining moments here and there, and enjoyed my time in New York. But unfortunately, I was stuck behind a Hall of Fame catcher most of that time. But I cherish those years in New York, and cherish being a part of that World Series championship team in 1986. However, I suffered a broken forearm in August of that season. So I was not in uniform for the postseason or the World Series. I was on the disabled list, and that was very unfortunate for me. But I was there for most of it. I was there for the celebration. I was there for the World Series victory and the party and all the festivities that went on after that. It was great to be a part of it, but it also felt a little strange because I wasn't in uniform and I wasn't on the active roster. But nonetheless, had some great times in New York. Enjoyed my 4+ years as a New York Met, and then went on to play for several other clubs for the rest of my career.
Well, Barry, you mentioned Jackson being the league MVP, and you had some teammates on that team that were pretty high profile, didn't you?
Yeah, Dave Magadan was a great college player at the University of Alabama. He was my teammate for a few years in the minor leagues, and then again, of course, in New York for a few more years. But he was a a big name, if you will. Then Kevin Elster was the starting shortstop for the Mets for many years. Mark Carrion, an outfielder that really had a very good major league career. Randy Myers, a relief pitcher that pitched for several clubs, had a great career. Rick Aguilera, who was a great closer for the Minnesota Twins after being traded away by the Mets. So those were just a few of the guys that were on that team that year. We were stacked. We had the whole organization was stacked with great players.
I think Strawberry was there the year before.
Strawberry was there in 1982, actually. Lenny Dykstra and Roger McDowell and Calvin Schiraldi and several others were there in 83 and then again in 84. And I was there in 85. But a great bit of talent that came through there during the 80s for sure.
That summer that you were there, we had Hillman and myself and the mayor, and we used to come to a lot of your games back then and hang out with some of you guys.
Yeah, a lot of my dear friends from the coast lived up in Jackson during that time, and certainly had a great time during the season, after the games and things. But in the off season, I lived there and worked out there, as did my old buddy, my first roommate in the minor leagues, Lenny Dykstra. And Lenny, as well as many other guys, Mark Carrion and a whole host of others, married girls from the Jackson area during those years. And unfortunately, not all of them are still married to those gals, but there's still several guys from the Mets organization that live in and around Jackson or are married to girls from Jackson.
Well, Barry, tell us a little bit about, you've had a long standing relationship or whatever you want to call it with youth, teaching youth. And I know at one point years ago, I even brought Blake over there. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember.
Did some hitting lessons that, by the way, Barry, you owe me money because it didn't work. But anyway, tell us about your relationship. And you still have some things going on to this day. Tell us what's going on with that and where you are.
Those hitting lessons I gave Blake back then parlayed into the golf swing. They do parallel each other, and actually y'all owe me more money now that he's a golf pro and making his mark in the golf world. So those swings, while somewhat different, there are a lot of similarities in some of the parts of that swing, but nonetheless, no, I've been very blessed to work with kids of all ages over the years. My first year in the major leagues, when I came home that winter, I did my first winter camp, if you will, a weekend long camp where I had kids from all over the coast, and I would bring in teammates and major league players, and as well as local players that were on the rise. Were all part of the instructional staff that I had for those events. But I really enjoyed that, and it meant a lot to me to give back to my hometown community and to help kids. And when I moved back home in 2002, I opened an indoor training center and a baseball academy, and certainly did summer baseball, did high school fall wood bat league, which I still do. I did private and individual instruction for many years. I don't do that anymore, but I love giving back to this community. It's been so good to me. And certainly minor league baseball here in Biloxi was something that I worked on for many, many years with the goal of giving back to this community, giving this community something that it could support and stand behind and enjoy minor league baseball, which was certainly my dream and my vision, which I'm thankful came to be.
I think your Woodback League's been pretty successful. If anybody wanted information about that, where can they find it, Barry?
Well, I usually go through the various high schools. It's primarily the high school players, usually the majority of it are the 9th and 10th graders, more so than the juniors and seniors. There's so much travel ball and showcase baseball these days, but it's it's what I call instructional league, and we do keep score. We do have 4 teams in the league, but it's more of an instructional league to get some quality repetitions while getting some good instruction from myself. James Brown, a guy from Ocean Springs that had an outstanding career in baseball, has been my right-hand man from day one. A former catcher, played in the Cincinnati Reds organization. Bubba Hall. I've had some different other guys to be that third additional coach, but JB's been with me from day one. Bubba's been with me for several years, and it's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, well, good. Well, one thing I wanted to make sure we touched on, and Blake knows about the Hall of Fame, but I want to make sure that everybody out there, when they see you, congratulate you for your upcoming induction into the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. Blake and I have been there, and Blake, you remember going there and seeing, all the people that were there. But Barry, there's a lot of big names in there, and we sure are proud that you're gonna be there coming up soon.
Well, I thank you, Thomas. I'm honored. I'm humbled. I'm thankful, to say the least. It's something that I've sort of hoped for several years now. My old teammate and best friend Chris Burgess, who was a great pitcher and my roommate and a teammate of mine, he's the one that nominated me, I think 4 or 5 years ago. And there's so much talent, so many great players in the history of Mississippi sports that are in the Hall of Fame. So to be going in with the Brett Favres and the Jerry Rices of the world, Walter Paytons, and just a who's who of national big time athletes is a huge blessing, and it's an honor that I really give credit to my whole family. I had so many people that encouraged me and inspired me and taught me and helped me and supported me through my whole career, that this honor goes to them, and to represent my Lyons family after having 3 great brothers that were great athletes. It's a family award more so than an individual award as far as I'm concerned. And I've had some great coaches, such as obviously Coach Dave Boo Ferris, and Spud Winowich was a very important coach in my life in American Legion baseball at a very critical time in my development, that really poured into me and helped me along the way as well.
Well, Blake, you remember going there, and we got our picture taken in front of Coach Pepper's locker.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to going back and seeing Barry's display or whatever it might be for you. But that's a neat place, and if anybody out there hadn't been before, it sure is worth a trip.
Yeah, it's an awesome museum as well as a display for the Sports Hall of Fame, but it's on Lakeland Drive in Jackson. Mike Rubenstein was an outstanding sports commentator, sports director, sports broadcaster in Jackson, and he was the guy that really pushed for that and really worked hard and raised the funds. There was no governmental assistance in building that museum. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of donations and support from the community that made that happen. And these induction ceremonies each year are a big part of fundraising to keep that museum alive. And that is something that is very important for Mississippi, to really keep that museum thriving and growing. And I think they're going to be under some construction and redoing some of the entryway areas. And it's a great facility with a lot of great artifacts and a lot of great history that sports fans, I hope, will go and support.
And when is your induction take place? This summer, right?
My induction is going to be July 29th and July 30th in Jackson.
Okay.
I'm going to be in with David DeLucci, who was a great baseball player at Ole Miss, played in the big leagues for many years. Bob Tyler, who was a great high school coach for many years and was a head coach at Mississippi State University for many years. And there's several more guys that are going to go on. Eric Molds, a great wide receiver from George County, who played at Mississippi State and played for the Buffalo Bills for many years, had a great career. So I'm in with a good class, to say the least. And last but not least, Jim Gallagher Jr., a great golfer who not originally from Mississippi, but married a gal, a professional golfer on the LPGA, his wife, and is from Mississippi, and he's been here for a long time, and we've become good friends.
His daughter, one of his daughters is about your age, Blake, isn't it? Isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's a year younger than
played golf at LSU.
Yeah.
She was a good golfer when Blake was doing the junior events. But we're proud of you for that, and looking forward to your induction in that, Barry. That's a great deal. But one other thing I want to touch on is now you're doing work for the Shuckers. You know, everybody knows that you were instrumental in helping get them here to begin with, but now you're doing a job for them. Tell us about what you're doing with the Shuckers and what they look like coming up this year.
Well, I've been blessed to be the ambassador. I wasn't directly involved with the organization the first year they were here, but as you mentioned, it was a vision of mine and a seed I planted many, many years ago and worked towards. And it's a long story as to what transpired through that process, but a lot of people put in a lot of effort and a lot of work to make it happen. And I'm thankful that we have the Biloxi Shuckers and MGM Park. And I am the ambassador is my sort of official title, or the name of my role with the organization. And I'm not a full-time employee. I'm sort of an outside contractor, if you will, but I do various things, mainly promoting the Shuckers, trying to do all I can to help them to be successful, both at the ticket office, but also in the community is where my role really sticks out. I represent them in the community at various chamber events or a lot of the civic groups I speak to. I travel around all the youth baseball leagues all over the coast. I take in a lot of the high school games. And so as I am right now, I don't know if you can see, I've got my Shuckers, one of my Shuckers shirts on with the logo. And I feel like I represent them everywhere I go. I mean, this is something I was proud to be a part of making happen. And while I'm not do not have an ownership stake in it, as far as from the financial side, I have a huge ownership stake in it personally, just from wanting it to be successful, believing in it, and wanting it for my hometown community. I was blessed to play in big cities and small towns all over the country, and minor league baseball was always something that was well received in the communities, a rally and cry for the community where everybody got behind the team. And we've had some great support from day one, but there's still a lot of folks that either have chosen not to come out for one reason or another, or really just haven't taken the time to come out and be a part of the game day experience at the MGM Park. It's great family entertainment. It's a great networking venue. It's a great setting. And minor league baseball, these players, we've had over 50 players in 6 years that have played for the Biloxi Shuckers that have gone on to the big leagues. And some of them are some big time players and all-stars and really top players in MLB. So plus you get to see all the visiting teams that come in and all those stars for the Atlanta Braves that just won last year's World Series. Many of those guys played for the Mississippi Braves up in Pearl and played here many games. So there's so much talent that you get to see, plus the game day experience and the fun atmosphere that we have. Great food. It's a great place to be on a spring and summer evening out at the ballpark watching the Shuckers.
Quite frankly, and I'm guilty for not going as much as I should. You know, I've been kind of disappointed in the numbers, the attendance numbers, but hopefully, you know, we'll keep it going, and you know, we'll have the Shuckers here for a long time moving forward. Like your age group, goes to a lot of games, doesn't they? Or
Yeah, I
not
mean,
as much?
probably I've been with my friends a handful of times. I mean, I'm sure at every age group you could say that they should probably go to them more. But I think, as far as long as downtown Biloxi starts kind of getting more restaurants and stuff around, which they're doing a lot down there. I mean, the Martini's place that's right there that has opened up recently. That's going to be a
Right.
spot. They're doing a bunch of work on Howard Avenue. I think as far as that stuff goes, and there gets more stuff going on down there, more stuff to hang out, more places to go, that's going to help out a lot with just people out down there.
Well, that was part of the vision, was the increase in development of downtown Biloxi, that MGM Park would spur that on. And it takes time to do that, but it is doing what we thought it might do. But unfortunately, our mayor is a little impatient, and he didn't, wasn't the mayor when this all happened, and he tends to be more of a negative towards it than really supporting it, which I wish that he would do. But our numbers aren't what they projected as far as feasibility studies wise, and unfortunately WLOX and Doug Walker in particular wanted to highlight that more than promoting the goodness that this brings to this community. And it's not always about the bottom line dollars. And there's so many things that this brings to a community, that cities and communities all over the country invest in ballparks and entertainment venues, so that their citizens and their people and their visitors have something that is good and wholesome and family entertainment that we sorely need here. So I'm certainly out front and center when it comes to promoting and pushing for the Shuckers and getting support in the community. But yes, the city of Biloxi and the Shuckers need to do a much better job of bringing in additional events. And that was something the Beau Rivage was promising, when this contract was signed 8 years ago, that they were going to bring concerts in and they were going to have these big entertainment opportunities at the ballpark. But unfortunately, that never materialized. And there's various reasons for that, but it's a complex contract that was done. Nothing I had anything to do with, but it's a contract that was signed many years ago, and the Shuckers have done everything in their power and done everything that according to that contract that they're supposed to do. It's the shortfall and the attendance numbers. I hear about all the time, little less now than before, but the Shuckers have a great loyal fan base, and they have great fans that support them. But there's more and more people in this community that I sure wish would get on board and come out and support the ball club and the MGM Park. And the city of Biloxi needs to do a better job of bringing in events to fill that ballpark.
Well, Barry, one last thing before I let you go, and I know this is means a lot to you, and everybody goes through their trials and tribulations and hit rock bottom and have issues. And I know that 10 or 11 years ago you decided to head to the home of grace, and that's really saved your life more so. But I want to give you a chance to hit on your service there and what what happened and where you are now with that.
Well, I beginning in college baseball, and certainly in the minors, and then in the majors, the baseball traveling world and being on the road and being away, I got involved in a lifestyle that started here in a culture that I grew up in, and alcohol and partying was certainly a part of that. and ultimately, over the course of years, drinking alcohol and then getting involved with other drugs during the years, it led to an addiction that I battled for many, many years. But 10 years ago, I went to the Home of Grace when my life had spiraled out of control, especially after the loss and devastation and depression of Hurricane Katrina and what it did to me and my family and to me personally. I didn't handle it very well, and my addiction really spiraled out of control. But thankfully, in January of 2012, I entered the Home of Grace Christian addiction recovery program in Van Cleve, Mississippi, and I gave my life to Christ on January 19, 2012, while a client at the Home of Grace, and my life has been radically transformed since then. I'm free of alcohol, free of drugs. I'm born again Christian, and I'm sharing the gospel, sharing my testimony everywhere, and talking about Jesus and what He did for me, and trying to help and encourage others. So I've been to the mountaintop, and I've been deep into the valley and into the lowness of a dark place for a long season. But God has restored me in every way, and has given me a hope and a future that I'm so thankful for. And I just love sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and what He has done for me and what He has done for hundreds and thousands and millions of other people. He paid the price for all of us. And I just encourage people to give their life to Christ and turn to Him to help Him. This world and this country is really in a bad place right now. A lot of bad things are happening across the board. Whether you're this or that or one political party or another, none of it matters. Jesus Christ is still the King. He's on the throne, and if we give Him all the glory and praise and turn to Him, He'll help us through anything and everything. And that's my message for people.
Right. Well, Barry, we were close when you made that decision to go to the Home of Grace, and I'll give you credit. You made up your mind and you went. You never wavered on it. And of all the things that you've done, all the accolades you have, I'm probably most proud of you for going through that and how you become once you've been out. And we're very proud of you for doing that.
Well, I thank you, Thomas. And I know there's a lot of people, we all have issues of one sort or another. None of us are perfect. None of us ever will be. We're all a work in progress. And, I just knew that I had reached the end of being me and who I was. And now I'm a new creature in Christ and born again. And now it's my job and my challenge to bring others to the Lord and to share the gospel and share the truth and be a witness for others. And certainly, I know there's a lot of people struggling with various things, but I just encourage them to turn to the Lord, turn to the Bible, turn to a faith in God that maybe they've had or haven't had or don't know or don't, haven't been there before. But we're all, created equally. We're all blessed in many ways. And I just give God the glory on everything that's happened in my life. And I just know all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. And we all have a purpose in life. And God has a perfect plan for all of us. It's up to us to turn to Him and let Him guide the way.
Well, Blake, any questions from you before we let Barry go?
I know there's probably countless stories that you can come up with your professional, baseball career, but like what is one that kind of stands out that you can look at now and be like, wow, that was pretty cool or awesome to something that you saw, man.
Well, being a part of a World Series certainly was huge. Even though I wasn't in the uniform, I was there. Hitting a grand slam in the major league to help win a game was certainly a moment that I cherish. Being a part of some amazing teams in New York, I cherish. Had a great college baseball coach that was a mentor and a friend and a father figure. Having two awesome parents, mom and dad, that loved my brothers and I unconditionally and sacrificed so much for us to live out our dreams. And most of all, when I did reach my goal of becoming a Major League Baseball player, when I had friends and family members, especially my parents and my brothers, but close friends such as your dad, Thomas, and so many others, friends that would come to the ballpark to watch me play, nothing gave me greater joy than to look up in the stands and see family and friends there supporting me and being a part of my career and my baseball life. But baseball now is a platform for me to share the good news of Jesus Christ and the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what I'm so blessed to be able to do now. And I thank you and Thomas for allowing me this time on your podcast. I wish you both the best. I love you both. I'm proud of you, Blake, and your role at Hattiesburg Country Club and your growth and development, and know that there's bright things ahead for you. And Thomas, I'm praying for you every day for your health and your well-being, and love Betsy that. And know she's been a blessing for you in so many ways. Yeah. And it's an honor to be on with you guys.
Well, we appreciate you being on, Barry. Our first guest, man. You're gonna, there's gonna be so many views on this one. We'll set a record or something. But wow. Thanks for jumping on with us, Barry. We appreciate it, and good luck to you moving forward with the Shuckers and your Hall of Fame. And I know we'll be talking soon. So have a good day, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Big T, and I look forward to your golf tournament. I will definitely be there, and I have to warn Blake that he may need some extra helpers after I play that course. I may leave some divots out there that you don't normally see.
For that day after, they're going to come out the next morning and fill a bunch of divots. We have. All
right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank Barry for being on with us, Blake. He was a good first guest, and I thought he had a lot of good stories and information to share with us. I thought, I learned some stuff about, some of the things he did in college. And what do you think?
I think it was pretty good. It was pretty cool to know somebody personally who was a part of winning a World Series. That's
you didn't know that before today.
I figured it out this week.
Yeah, but all this time you've known him, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. You never told me. How would I know that a team 10 years before I was born, he was won the World Series? I mean, that's.
Oh, you should.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
I mean, he talked about a bunch of good stuff. I mean, talked about how the Shuckers are doing and what his role is there. I think that's pretty cool for somebody to have grown up in Biloxi and played baseball his whole life and been around the game forever, played professionally, done this, done that, and now he's back home and he just wants to promote baseball and get people to go to the games and just enjoy their time. Which I think many people need to do, and we need to get the Shuckers to have
we need to get some people out there to watch it.
Yeah.
Now, right. Well, and another good thing about his story is his testimony, about the home of grace, and that he's obviously turned over a new leaf in his life, and it's obviously been good for him. So that was great to hear. We appreciate Barry, and one thing I'll say, he's a Biloxi boy, but he's finally come to his senses and lives in Ocean Springs now. So I should say something to him about that, but he knows. But Barry, we appreciate you being on here, and thanks for being here. And I hope everybody out there can take something from that.
Absolutely.
So So moving on, Blake, tell us about the golf tournament we've got coming up.
May 19th, right here at Hattiesburg Country Club, where I'm sitting at currently. Be a 4-man scramble we're going to do, 8 a.m. shotgun start, first edition of the Big T, the inaugural Big T Invitational.
So how can anybody register for the tournament?
BigTofficiating.com. That's where you would go to register for the golf tournament, the information about it on there, information about some sponsorship stuff, and that's where you also register for the officiating clinic, Big T Officiating Clinic, which coincides with the golf tournament, which will start that evening also on the campus of Southern Miss.
Right, and we also have sponsorship information. Whole sponsorships are available, $100 a piece. We've already got 3 or 4 of those sold out. So keep in mind that, we need those sponsorships. We're going to need that to make this tournament happen. Please remember that the proceeds are going to benefit the LVAD Foundation at UAB Hospital. That's what we're working towards. So please, if you can, sign up to play. It looks to be a fun event. We're going to have tea gifts, food, the whole 9 yards. So please, if you can, sign up to play. We also have, as Blake mentioned, the officiating camp starting that same on the 19th, 20, 21st. Blake, who is our camp geared towards?
Officials, it's obviously for football officials. Get that straight first. But it's for any level of officials, basically. You can go, if you're a high school official, you're just want to get better at what you do currently, officiating high school football, and you just want to get better, then you can come to the camp and get something out of it. There's going to be on-field games that you do. There's going to be clinicians helping you there. So if you're just trying to get better as a high school official or any level of official that you currently are, this is the place to go. If you want to move up in the officiating world, if you want to figure out, moving up in football officiating is kind of tough, and you got to know a couple people. You got to know how it works. But if you want to move up, this is the camp to go to. If you want to officiate in junior college football, this is where you'll come.
Yeah, and we have a good staff that'll be there to monitor your, give you critiques on your performance. You'll have video of your on the field action, your snaps. So all in all, it's a good bang for your buck. When I see some of them are $1,500. I mean,
yeah, we were talking about camp yesterday. It literally costs $1,500.
Yeah, and that's not even
plus
your
travel, plus
yeah,
all your expenses.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot with no guarantees.
Yeah,
But we look forward to having a full camp there as well. And again, you can find that information on bigtofficiating.com. Well, Blake, let me give you a merchandise update. I talked to the merchandiser. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have a link to go order merchandise. He's going to have it all set up. Well, there'll be a link on our website. It'll take you right to it, and you can order from there. So be looking for that. Hopefully it'll be the next week. Again, proceeds from the sale of our merch will go towards the foundation as well. So keep that in mind. Anything else, Blake, we need to touch on?
You got it.
Well, I want to thank Barry once again for being on with us. It was a great first guest. We're proud to have him, and we plan to have another guest next week. So until then, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on our website. This podcast should be up shortly. Come back and see us. Keep listening. Stay safe. Be good.
Peace.
Peace out.